Hello and welcome everyone. This is our second session on data scraping using Excel. If you were with us in the previous session, you must have seen that how we can open Internet Explorer and how we can launch a URL through Excel VBA. So this was the code that we have written in the previous session. So if you remember or just for a quick recall, I will show you the steps that we have done to launch a browser. So the first step was declaration, where we have declared the browser element and we have also declared the document. Before doing that, we have imported two libraries here. The first one was Microsoft HTML Object Library, and the second one was Microsoft Internet Controls. So after declaration, we have initialized Internet Explorer object as new Internet Explorer, and we made it visible because by default it is false. You cannot see it, but you can see that in the processes. Then the next step was we launched a URL. We have opened a URL in the browser object. So if I run this piece of code, you would see that after declaring and after initializing, it is now launching the URL in the browser, right? And then we are setting the document property, and the next step is to write something on the page. Basically, we are performing some operation on the page. All right, so I was running this code in the debug mode, and yes, this was a question that came up in the previous session because when some people were trying this in one go, they were getting some error here after this step, and you would also see this error. And the reason here is why we are getting this error, because now when I run this, it is not giving me error. But when you run it in one go, you'll see this error. So the reason is when you are at this step, you are trying to launch a URL, and in the very next step, you are assigning the document of this browser to a new object. But when this line was executing, this particular thing was not ready. The browser was still loading. The page was not loaded completely. So that's why it was taking some time, few seconds. So we need to put a wait statement here so that when we are initializing this document object, it makes sure that this browser is ready to set the document object. So for that we are having multiple ways. So that means we need to put a wait step here. So the first way is you put a hard coded wait. We can put hard coded wait using application dot wait, and then now plus time value in brackets, and in string you can say 000005. This means you are putting a wait of 5 seconds from after, you can say here we are putting current time plus 5 seconds. So we are putting a wait of 5 seconds between these two steps. Let us see what happened when we run this now. We should not see this error because once the browser is loading this page, it would wait for 5 seconds and then it will initialize the document object. And you can see the name is filled and there is no error here. But you can see that in your entire piece of code, when you will be performing multiple operations, you need to put this statement over and again. And putting a hard coded wait in your code is definitely a costly thing. So you need to avoid this thing by putting something that it should wait only till the page is loading. So for that we have an alternate method. You can say alternate approach for wait. So for that, what we can do is, let's comment this one first of all. What we can do here is, we can say do until on the browser object, you have a property named as ready state. So if the value of ready state is ready state complete, this means that browser is now ready. This means that it is not loading anything. So we keep this in loop. We keep our browser busy till the time this ready state is not achieved, right? So you would see if I run this again, It will stay in the loop until the browser loads completely and it will fill the form. So there is no error again. So these are the two methods. This one is the hard coded wait that we are putting. We can put 5, 10, whatever seconds that we want. But this is a more, you can say, this is a better way to handle this wait, because this can be 2 seconds or this can be 10 seconds depending on the time that a browser is taking to load. All right, so this was the first thing that I wanted to discuss in this session. The second thing is, let us now try for a new URL. Let's say we have a website like this and we want to extract names or let's say prices for all the products listing that we have. And this is what this session was meant for, because we are talking about scraping data from web. All right, so let us change the code. Let us change the URL first of all. All right, so we have a wait approach here. So the page would be loading. We have the document initialized, and after that we need to write something to retrieve information from the website and put that in the Excel. So first of all, we go to the website and we inspect element using developer options. We take it to one of the elements. We can see here this element is having a div tag with class item hyphen title, and here inside that we have the name of the item. Okay, so if I press Ctrl F, and if I search with a class name, to search with a class name, just put dot and then name of the class. By this, you would see that there are 21 items matching this criteria. If you hit enter, you would see the element. So that means all the elements are highlighted. But when we automate, you have seen in the previous video also, we were trying to find a unique element. We do not want a locator which gives us multiple elements, but in this case we need something which gives us multiple elements so that we can iterate through and fetch information from all of them. So if this is the case, what you can do is you can make another element, let's say lms equals, and then you can use the document object ht dot get elements by class name this time, because we are using the class property, and the class property the value of the class was item hyphen title. Okay, so all these elements matching this criteria are now part of this object. Okay, let us see what happens when we run this. I just put a random statement after this to put a breakpoint here. So it comes here. If I right click here and add a watch for this to see what is there, so we have 21 items and all these item objects are here in the list. Okay, so now we need to iterate through all the elements and access them one by one. So for that, what we can do is, let us delete this statement now. So we need to put a for loop to iterate through all these one by one and print on console, let's say. So for each loop, that is the loop that we will be using for each element in elements object, and here I'm terminating the for loop. And let's say we want to print on console the values. So first of all, I enable the console from here. So currently the console is blank. So what we can do is we can say that debug dot print, and what should it print? lm dot inner text. Okay, let's see what happens when I run this now. So it opens the page, and here we have all the names. So you can see how efficient it is to extract information from websites. So we have the names now. We can also fetch other information. We can also fetch the prices. Let us try for prices now. So for prices, we can see we have a class named as amount. Let's check whether we have a single element representing it. So let us again go back to the structure, same structure. So for name, we have here dev, and the price box is here. So both of these, if you can see item title and item content, which is having item price, are part of info inner. So it is better if you take this parent dot this, and then further if you say dot amount, so you would reach all the 21 elements now. So this way you can go to all the elements one by one. So what we need to print here is, so this elements is for name, or you can say prod names. I'm just renaming to make it more clear. This changes to prod names and prod, okay, product, right? So now we want to print the prices also. So set prices equals ht dot get elements by class name, and for the time being I'm just using this amount, okay, and I'm using another loop for prices. So for each prices, price in prices, debug dot print price dot inner text, or you can see p price, right? So let's see what happens now. I'm clearing it quickly. Oops. Oops. So we have names again, and we have the prices. Let us do one thing. Instead of printing on console, I want this data on the Excel sheet itself. So what we can do for that, so instead of debug.print, what we can do is cells, you can say sheet 1 dot cells. We need a row index, so for that we can say a counter, let's say that is I, and column that says 1 dot value equals prod dot inner text, and let's say I is equal to 1 initially, and it is incrementing by 1, right? Let's again initialize I to 1, and let's say I want to print prices for this. So I again use the same statement here, but instead of the product name, I would print in second column the price value. Alright, so let's see what happens now. Go back to the sheet, run it again, come back to the sheet. Wow, so you have all the information. Since this was the issue that we were not using the correct locator, so that's why we are getting one blank here, but this is your correct data. You can verify. You can go to the website and see the first product is Blue Bond Red Label. The price is 185 for 500 grams, and you can verify any other also. There is also a course that we are going to launch in the second week of May. We would be pushing that course on Udemy, so stay tuned with us if you want more information about data scraping, do not forget to subscribe us on YouTube. Thank you. Goodbye.